Hi, I am Sebastian Knoche and I am working in the TRILUX research department, and my last two research projects have been on the topic of sustainability. So my jobs in terms of sustainability is doing the research projects with focus on sustainability, and in these projects we have a close look at the life cycle assessments of luminaires. And in these life cycle assessments we can see where the most important environmental impacts come from. So from which phases, is it the use phase or the production phase, and from which components in the luminaire the most important environmental impacts are being generated. So the goal of my work is to make the luminaires more sustainable, and especially to make it quantitatively more sustainable. So the SUMATRA project was a German-funded project which we ended last year in September, and there we did life cycle assessments with focus on luminaires to get a good overview over all the range of our portfolio where we have the main environmental burdens being generated. So concerning the CO2 emissions, we have like 99%, maybe 95% in some cases, coming from the use phase of the luminaire. So only by the electricity that is being used by the luminaire. And just 1 to 5% of the CO2 emissions is occurring during the production of the luminaire. So this is in a way negligible. So of course not completely. We are also working on materials that have a low carbon footprint, but in order to have a real impact on reducing the carbon footprint of our luminaires, we have to tackle the use phase. For example, by improving the efficiency even more and by using light management systems, for example. Yeah, it is not only the CO2 we are concerned about. So we have several environmental impacts that we cause by producing and using luminaires. And one of the other environmental impacts is, for example, the abiotic resource depletion that we cause. So the materials that we are using in the luminaire. And there we have some metrics in the life cycle assessment where we can quantify how scarce the materials are and how much of them we are using. And then there are certain weighting factors, and we can see which components of the luminaire contain the most of the scarce materials. And there we have seen that the electronics, so the LED module and the control gear, and in part also the wiring, contain the most precious materials, which have to be avoided and have to be reduced as much as possible. Yeah. That means that by now we have a very good overview of the life cycle assessment of a luminaire, and we can now precisely see where are the big building blocks of the environmental burdens which we should tackle to reduce. And we can make suggestions for new luminaire designs, for example, which will show up later in a life cycle assessment with a better result than the current luminaire design that we have right now. So the SUMATRA project has come to an end in last September, but I'm already preparing the next research projects, and they will also be on the topic of sustainability, because I think this is really the most important topic of today, which we need to make progress in. So you can see we are still working on the topic of sustainability, and we invite you to contribute to this kind of research. So if you're interested, just contact us and stay tuned what we are publishing about SUMATRA and the following projects.